Yeah, we can figure it out at that point. Exactly. Yeah. Because we have it set up right now, so it's easier to set it.
It's easy to get me the agenda before tonight. Get that up so loud so that it wakes you up when the baby's sleeping. Lorena, are you ready? Okay, well, what is it outside? 78. It's you giving off the heat, Rick. It's you giving off the heat.
Yeah, you're all. That's worth 1 or 2 degrees right there.
I know.
Radiating.
I can feel the heat off you right now.
Like being behind a paver.
Mr. Russo, you ready?
Yeah, ready.
All right, good evening. Welcome to the Newtown Council meeting of September 23rd, 2019. If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilman Schlaffer is called to be excused. He's out sick tonight. Could you please take the roll call?
Mr. Dixon?
Here.
Mrs. Diglio?
Here.
Mr. Flynn?
Here.
Mr. Schlaffer? Mayor LaFois?
Here. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this regular meeting was given to the 2 newspapers of record and posted on the official bulletin board on January 4th, 2019. In your packets, you received copies of the minutes from the September 11th meeting. Any additions, corrections, amendments, deletions? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the September 11th regular meeting minutes.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Dixon and a second by Deputy Mayor Flynn. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio?
Abstain.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mayor LaFois?
Yes. Ursula, before we go into public, do you want to make a statement about our public hearing tonight?
Sure. So we had noticed for the SEC TV cable hearing tonight, the franchise renewal for a cable television company is very much state statute driven. And in that regard, we had prepared a resolution in February of this year, and we issued a cable franchise ascertainment report in February that set forth some suggestions what the town wanted as far as cable services. Unfortunately, notice went to council, but not to the council that appears to these hearings. So there's a request from SEC TV to carry the matter to December 9th.
Okay.
So it's our recommendation tonight to carry to December 9th, this hearing.
You mean not to their council?
It went to general counsel, not the council that handles their hearings. So unfortunately, they weren't able to be. So it's a 10-year renewal, and it seems like a lot of the municipalities in Sussex County are up right now, so it's a process. So we'll provide notice again. So there's actually Lorraine had to deal with a very complicated notice proposal that allows 45 days between 7 and 14. So we want to make sure that notice is appropriate and carry the matter to December 9th.
Okay, so they didn't provide a proper notice to their own.
We have to notice. The town had to notice and copy the council. That council didn't supply their
Own council.
the council that would appear tonight with a notice. So unfortunately, we need to carry the matter to December 9th. I spoke to the BPU and everything. We're still within compliance with the guidelines. The franchise is in effect till April of next year. That's when the renewal expires.
Okay, so Service Electric asked for the hearing to be moved to the December 9th meeting. So anyone who is here to hear that hearing tonight or make public comment, that portion of the business is going to be moved to the December 9th meeting. And again, that's regarding agenda number 8, the public hearing on the Service Electric Cable Television franchise renewal. Okay. Anything else on that?
Thank you.
All right, having said that, we'll move on to the public portion of this meeting. At this point in the meeting, the Town Council welcomes comments from any member of the public on any topic to help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit the opportunity for anyone who wishes to be heard. Speakers are asked to take one turn at the microphone and please limit their comments to 5 minutes. The clerk will keep time. If reading from a prepared statement, please provide a copy and email a copy to the clerk's office after making your comments so it may be properly reflected in minutes. Council may choose to comment after the entire public portion has concluded. Do we have any public comments at this time?
Hello, Maureen Snell on Plainfield Avenue. I had to leave early at the last meeting. Has it been decided what plan we're going to go with the Newton Pool? Because I see that you're agreeing on a certain amount of money tonight, so I'm guessing you're going forward with Plan B. My only comment is I know like the one whole side of the pool is supposed to be steps. I really think that'll be a nightmare for the lifeguards. You know, the way it's been working for the last 60 years has really worked fine. You know, we try to keep people up the stairs. If it's the whole side of the pool, it's really going to be terrible. Thank you.
Anyone else during this public portion?
Hi, Tracy Pepperella, Halsted Street, Newton. Two things. On my way in tonight, I saw on the outside door that it says all council meetings are video recorded, as I see, and posted the next day. However, the July 22nd meeting, when Mr. Russo was not here, just the council members were here, was not so I want to know why. Secondly, I want to speak for, I understand that the football team has a problem, and my name has somehow been dragged into it. The football team needs access to their garages, which are back beyond the pool house. And the football team or coaches have been told that they can thank Tracy Pepperella for the gate being locked, for them not getting access to their garages. I don't know if the council's aware of that. I don't appreciate my name being slandered by somebody down in DPW who is telling people that. She has gone so far as to tell them that I have hopped the fence. I hate to admit, but I'm beyond those years of hopping fences. So I would really appreciate the council rectifying that and opening the gate for the football coaches. Thank you.
Rob Porter, 12 Pine Street. I want to thank Tom Russo again. The county engineer touched me over the last week, so we discussed the issues. So hopefully we'll move on forward with that. Also, I'm a little concerned about this delay in the franchise, because if the town chooses not to go with Sussex County, sort of rural, TV, are we going to be able to get somebody else in that time fast enough to get somebody on board? And I don't think it should be a franchise anyway. I think it should be open bid. So if I want to choose AT&T or Optimum or whoever, I should be able to do that. That's a free enterprise. That's what it should be here. Thank you.
Joy Sullivan from Linmore Avenue. I would like to also comment that I'm a little disturbed that we're not going to make a determination tonight about the licensure for SEC. I really do think we need to have choice here. For the last year, if anybody's, I'm not on social media very much, but I do subscribe to Nextdoor Newton, and that is 5 or 7 neighborhoods in the area. Paulinskill Lake, Stillwater, Andover, and so many people on there, so many new people who have moved into the area. Can't believe that we have only one choice for a cable company. So really, I would say, it's going to be pushed off until December 9th, but there is a lot of sentiment in the communities surrounding this company, our community, that really do want to have some choice. I don't want a dish on my house. I feel like the rates are too high. I really do want to see some competition here. Thank you.
Hi, Nadine Harrison of Glenmore Ave. I also agree we need choice with our cable and internet providers. There's nothing, and our internet is really slow. I hear, like when my son was in college, the internet would constantly turn off. He couldn't get his homework done half the time because our internet service in this area is so slow and so bad. Only one thing, I remember having to turn off our phone so he can finish his homework, and we still have that problem on some of the roads. Some of them only go up to 10. I don't know what I'm on an internet. Some go up to 10, and I think some go up to 20, and that's the highest you can get in Newton, is what I was told. I have CenturyLink for it, but the only two options are CenturyLink or service the cable company. My other question is, and I know this isn't like being addressed right now, but is there a way we can start addressing the bathrooms down at Memory Park? I hear all this thing when people come to Newton. We got to spruce up Spring Street, so when people come into Newton, it's the first thing they see. I can't tell you how many people my kids are involved in numerous sports. And when I go to the games, I hear other people saying, oh, how gross Newton is because of the way our fields look or our bathrooms. The bathrooms, I wasn't at the last game this weekend, but the 2 weekends ago, the women's bathroom was so disgusting. I walked in, walked out, and threw up. It smelled so bad in there. I know at one point Skark used to clean them. I don't know who is taking care of it now. But Spring Street isn't always the first thing people see. A lot of people come for sports events, and our field and our bathroom, like, it shows a lot for Newton. And they're just one step up of an outhouse. They're not much, being a full bathroom, they should be, I think, a little bit better. Thank you.
Peggy Baldini, Barry Lane. I had a couple of questions regarding what's scheduled for tonight. The public hearing and second reading for the change in the wage level for the CFO. I was wondering if that has any impact on the town manager when he negotiates for his new contract, since it does say in there that he's supposed to be the highest paid employee. Also, on regarding the pool, we're appropriating $400,000 for that. I'm totally on board with fixing what we have, but that would be $150,000, and going that much further to the $400,000 level, which I don't know if that takes into account the extra $50,000 we're getting from Door Labs. It seems excessive to me. So, and also on the last part, in your executive session, are you allowed to tell us what pilots you're talking about in that executive session, or no? I was wondering if it had to do with Door Labs, or but maybe you can tell me. Okay. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Angelo De Palma, Hillside Avenue, Newton. A couple of months ago, it seemed that we were on the verge of maybe not getting the pool fixed at all, and I assumed that the reason for that was the money, which is very reasonable. And last meeting, there was an engineer and a designer here, and they did a great sales job. Your eyeballs were all popping out. And we had the option of fixing what needed to be fixed. The engineer who was sitting there said multiple times that we didn't need the drainage. There was no problem with the drainage. That it could have been better, yes, but it wasn't affecting the pool in any way, shape, manner, or form. Several people also got up to say that they appreciated the fact that we had a deep end, that it was fun, and that we enjoyed jumping off into the deep end. And lo and behold, it seems that now money's no object. We're going with Plan 2, correct? And it seemed that Plan 1 would have been more prudent. It would have addressed everybody's concerns, and it would have preserved the deep end, which a lot of people, including myself, valued very much when they went through the pool. So I just want to express my disappointment at that.
Good evening. My name is Carl Merchant. I'm a resident of Newton. I'm sorry I came in a little late. I'd like to speak to the issue of the franchise renewal for Service Electric. Is this the time to speak about that, or should I wait until that comes up?
So, as council stated earlier, the hearing had been moved to the December 9th meeting at the request of Service Electric Cable Television. There was a notice issue internally with them, and so that portion of the presentation, or that hearing, is going to be moved to the December 9th meeting. But you're welcome to comment.
Okay.
And could you just state your street, please, Mr. Merchant?
What I said in my seat?
No, your street, where you reside.
Oh, I live at 18 West End Avenue.
Thank you.
And I am also a Service Electric customer. And I'd like to speak in opposition to the renewal of the franchise. As a general rule, I oppose monopolies and oligopolies. And since that franchise has been signed, Service Electric's been allowed to operate as a monopoly in the town. One of the reasons why I oppose monopolies is because without fair competition, and the profit being the bottom line, often companies do not maintain their equipment and keep it up to speed, and there is no fair market competition for the price. And I feel that the residents of this town are not getting value or a good, fair market price for what it is they're paying for. I use all three services. I use the telephone, I use internet, and I use the cable service. The telephone I took out of the wall and threw in the trash and no longer use it, primarily not because of Service Electric's problems, but because I was getting enough spam calls. I found my cell phone works better, and I'm happy with that service. The cable, I'm seriously considering going to watching television shows and finding my news on the internet, as my children have done, and many of my neighbors are doing. I think cable is on the way out. And ironically, today I was watching TV and my cable service went out at 4 o'clock. And that's not uncommon happening if you live here and watch cable through Service Electric. I find their service to be unsatisfactory. And last but not least, the internet service is slow. I have been in other parts of the United States where my kids live, where my brothers live. The service is much faster. And if I were a business person, if I were still in business, this would really concern me, because many of the businesses today operate on the internet. Everyone knows about Amazon, but even a local small business sell using internet service. And having slow service means that your customers are having trouble filling out the forms and doing the credit card applications. And I think it hurts Newton as far as being a place to attract business that might want to serve in a place where you have fast internet. I know we have a local company that does this, and they, I think, can speak to that more clearly than I can. One of my kids lives in Connecticut, and in that town, they just attracted a company that writes programs from Manhattan to move out to Connecticut because they can provide them with very fast internet service. And these people love living in a rural area. They don't have to fight traffic driving back and forth. And if they need to go to the city, they're close enough they can do that. We have all those same advantages here in Newton. And I think we could attract that type of clean business here if we had a better provider. So, in summary, I oppose the extension of the franchise. I'd like to open up the market and see if there's some other options for the town. Thank you.
My name is Alan Abramson. I live on Giancarlo Lane here in Newton. I want to begin by saying that I don't think the turnout here tonight is reflective of people who don't care in reference to SEC TV. I think there's a lot more people, many more people, that do care. I don't think it's apathy. I don't think it's saying nothing's going to change. I wonder how much publicity has been given to an issue like this in different areas, newspaper, what have you, not just on the town website. People may not have access to that. But there needs to be better publicity on issues that are meaningful to so many people. And I believe if that word got out in a bigger way, much more people would be here tonight. So that's number one. The other thing is, yes, I'm going to name the other company, Planet Internet, owned by a Newton resident, based in Newton, providing high-speed, lower-cost, better service, fiber optic internet service. Many, many, many people are cutting the cord, not just here in Newton, but throughout the country and worldwide, cutting the cord. Whatever it is they're going to, whether, like the other gentleman that was just here said, he'll read the newspaper, check it online, what have you, or cutting the cord, going to YouTube TV, Hulu, whatever it is, IPTV, many choices out there today. But they're doing it because the cost here is incredibly high. When you look at it for a triple play, which that gentleman just talked about, I know he's paying well over $100, well over it. And that might even be for not having any premium stations. It needs to be looked at. I'm talking this way now because I would like for there to be some thought prior to December 9. I would like to also encourage the council to be sure that there is a venue which you could use to put this issue when the December 9th meeting is going to be held. I think Newton does need competition. At the same time, I do realize Verizon's not going to come here, Comcast, some of the other big boys that play the game. Not enough money, too much cost. But there is Planet Internet, and there may be others along that line that would like to come to Newton, just like they did, gentleman mentioned, in Connecticut. So, something to think about, get the word out better for high-impact issues. You might not be happy with that, but I think it's important. And there, one more time, was a, thank you, there was a forum here in Newton, at Newton High School, put together by the students' robotics team at Newton High School that addressed specifically this issue. I don't want to ask the council members of how many of you attended that. I don't want to embarrass anybody. And it was a very, very big forum, very well attended, and the need is there. I hope the council will keep this in mind and not do a slam dunk on renewing their license. Thank you.
My name's Lynn Snyder. I live on Ashford Street. I would like to take the opportunity to remind you all that the foundation of a community is the infrastructure that's built. And technology is a key component in the infrastructure. Without that infrastructure, without that element, we can't be competitive, we can't attract business, we can't even really successfully educate our children. We have the opportunity, you have the opportunity to make a choice that's going to have a long-range impact. This is not just about today. This is not just about gaming online. This is not just about watching Netflix. This is about our future. I am also a business owner. I own a technology company. I happen to have a client who is one of the largest commercial property owners in the state of New Jersey. Years ago, I asked my client to go in and find out whether or not it was viable to come into Sussex County and do business. And he said, he went, he asked, he came back a couple of days later and he said to me, "You don't have the infrastructure, and you don't even look like you're even knowing that you need to get the infrastructure." And that's where we are, folks. Your decisions will have an impact on our future. So keep that in mind, please, while you are researching and making the right decisions for us. Thank you.
I didn't realize we were addressing the...
You can come back into the second public. We can only do one comment per person in each public section.
Yeah, I didn't realize we were talking about the internet service as well. Because evidently that part of the meeting's been canceled.
Yes. That was announced at the beginning of the meeting, that the hearing's been adjourned to December 9th.
Okay. Then maybe I should wait till December 9th.
Did you do 5 minutes?
What?
Did you do 5 minutes?
Yeah. How about that?
Go ahead, Mr. Pollard.
Thank you. When I arrived in Sussex County 29 years ago, the internet was just starting. People were just starting to get emails. America Online was big and all that. I used to have to dial into New York City because it was cheaper to call New York for dial-up internet than it was to call New Brunswick, which was the closest place. Over the next couple of years, 3, 4, 5, half a dozen, maybe 10 ISPs, internet service providers, popped up in this county. It was, among them was Robert Boyle of Tellurian Network, currently Planet Internet, right?
Planet Network.
Tellurian means planet, so I guess he didn't change the name that much. There was a guy out in Andover. There was somebody in Hackettstown. Service Electric came in and provided a very much needed service, which was broadband, reasonably priced internet. They did a great job with that. I don't know about the TV thing because we don't have television, but they did a great job with the internet for 1995 or whenever they started, 2000, whenever it was. Unfortunately, they've been resting on their laurels. The service is terrible. It is awful and it is expensive. I was in Philly, in my daughter's house, and I had to look something up. I looked up and I said, "My God, this is so fast. Is it always this fast?" "Yes." "How much do you pay for it?" $39.95. I pay $79.95. Yeah. I spoke with the guys at Planet, and they told me that the issue was not so much that Service Electric was still around, or that they had an exclusive, but that they allegedly own the utility poles on which their wiring is, resides, and that they could, in fact, do fiber optics all through the town if Service Electric would relent and allow them to at least rent space on those poles. You don't have to get rid of Service Electric. They don't have to go bankrupt. They don't have to go out of business. In fact, I don't think anybody wants them to go out of business. If all you really need to do is allow Planet and anybody else who wants, who's capable of doing it, to hang fiber optics on up Main Street, Main Street, Route 94, High Street, and provide a trunk, a high-speed data trunk for the entire town. That's all you have to do. You don't have to, it's not even a question of renewing or not renewing. It shouldn't be exclusive, as other people have pointed out. It should be competitive. And let Service Electric compete on the basis of its cable, whatever speeds they are, with the fiber optic people. I have a feeling if you do that, very soon thereafter, Service Electric will announce a fiber optic installation. Yeah, they'll do it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hi, Jen on 36 Pine Street. I don't like to talk. I get nervous, so sorry. For the internet, I pay over $100 a month for internet. We have the top speed, and I have 4 children. 3 of them do homework on the internet, and we can't do it at the same time. So my kids are doing their homework at all hours because I have a high schooler, a middle schooler, a lot of research projects, so they can't do it at the same time. So I agree, don't get rid of Service Electric, but let us have options. Let us decide what we want and see where it goes from there. Thank you.
A little short. Hi, I'm Magda, Merriam Avenue. I just wanted to speak on behalf of SEC TV.
Magda, your last name, please.
Dvorzitsky. Should I spell it?
Did you get that right?
Okay, thanks. The gentleman over here made very good points. There's no need to get rid of it. There needs to be competition. It's a monopoly. Plain and simple is the definition of it. If you open up a business book, it's right there. SEC is basically the definition. And I want to mention that we need options, and we need to allow other companies to be competitors. And the prices are ridiculous. But they can do that because they don't have people breathing down their backs with better services for less money. And on top of it, it's 2019. Everything's on the internet. Everything we're streaming, everything we're doing on our phones, everything that we're trying to do at work. I work in Morristown. My speeds are incredible. We have 50 people on the internet. Never had an issue. Never had a blackout, nothing like that. So what I think we should do is just really think about the fact that we don't want to allow someone to have 10 years. That's a lot of time. In innovation, in the world of technology, that's huge. Everything back to 2009, look where we've come. It's totally different. So we need to be given the opportunity to be innovative in that way. And I think, like the gentleman over here said, there's not a good show here because people, for example, my age, they're waitressing, they're doing this, so this isn't maybe a great time to come by, but the robotics team did hold a forum, and there was a great turnout because everyone's annoyed. I mean, the younger kids, like, they're upset that they can't play their video games and talk live, whatever you do on those things. So we just want to make sure that we do have the opportunities. We don't sign a 10-year contract with just one company, and let's be real, CenturyLink isn't really a competitor of theirs, and allow fiber optics because this is a totally different infrastructure. And we have a perfect example of anyone who needs to learn more about it from Thor Labs. They create fiber optics. They have the 2 towers. They make tons of cables. That's what it's used for. So maybe we can collaborate and come up with some innovative ideas. Thank you.
Jim Hoffman, 37 Newman Drive. So I brought my book that I've been reading, got it about 10 days ago. Tools and Weapons, just released a few weeks ago by Brad Smith, president of Microsoft. And there is a chapter in here, which is why I made the purchase. It talks about rural broadband, which is exactly what we live in. Broadband has become the electricity of the 21st century. It's fundamental to the way people work, live, and learn. The future of medicine is telemedicine. The future of education is online education. The future of agriculture is precision farming. And a little bit later in the chapter, he goes on to say that rural areas that lack broadband are still living in the 20th century. So you can use this as a source of information. It's a whole chapter dedicated to exactly what we're living in.
Any other public comments on this issue or others? All right. We'll close that portion of the meeting. There will be a second public hearing in just a little bit. We'll move on to council manager reports. I want to thank the New Jersey Herald for the special section in this Sunday's paper, highlighting the town of Newton, talking about revitalization being in full swing, updating the public on not only projects but events, much of the development that's going on, talking about for labs, some of the other redevelopment properties that are gathering a lot of interest, highlighting some of our businesses, interviewing some of our developers, and also providing some updates on some other things happening in the town. So specifically, I want to thank Bruce Gruden for the time that he spent with us, talking about projects going on in Newton, and also going out and talking to the people that are investing in the town of Newton, to talk to them one-on-one. I appreciate that highlight. I've already gotten many comments just in the last day or so with regards to that section of the paper and what's going on in Newton not being highlighted. Because of some travel and obviously being sick, I don't have any other comments this time. I'll move on to Deputy Mayor Flynn.
Well, the comments that I'm hearing tonight sounds like a weekly conversation at my house between my wife and I, and we just generally err on the side of our dissatisfaction with the internet. As technology increases, I think the complaints continue to escalate. Just as life draws more need for bandwidth. I've been on the council for 7 years. I haven't personally had to deal with this because the last renewal was 10 years ago. I didn't actually know that the council had any say in who goes on the poll, since we don't own the polls. They're in our right of way, but they're not ours. Correct?
I can speak to it if you want.
Yeah.
We actually on July 8th adopted a resolution. It was Resolution 161 to 2019. It authorized public right-of-way use by Planet Networks for fiber optic. So to the extent we're permitted, we did allow Planet Network to have that option.
I understand that,
This is separately, the cable franchise is a different issue, right?
but they still have to obtain private permission, correct?
If it's privately owned, right? Every pole is different, every box is different, it just depends on the circumstance. But to the extent the town of Newton could, we authorized Planet Networks to utilize the resources they could.
What does that allow them? How many poles does that allow them to use?
I don't know, we'd have to ask them.
Okay. So somebody would have to analyze on a pole by pole situation. I'm sure that's what Robert Boyle does, and is to put. I mean, that's an antiquated way to do business in 2019. So I guess that my question is, what authority do we have? This is a conversation for the December 9th meeting, but I want to, now that it's a focus of discussion, what can the airways be opened up? Can competition be?
So I wrote a note. What I think we'll do is prepare a memo, if that's okay with you, outlining the whole process and the statutory law, because it is somewhat complicated. And that
Sure it is. Okay,
if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I don't want you to answer it now if you're not prepared.
Thank you.
Yeah. Going back to, I heard a comment on the July 22nd meeting, again, not being videotaped. I'm not so sure why we're still digging for complaints on this. The council tried to, this year, implemented a video broadcasting service at the council meetings as a courtesy, not a statute. We're not obligated to do it. So if there's something wrong with the technology, if there's a blip in our broadband, I don't think we're going to cancel a council meeting because it can't be broadcasted. Mr. Russo wasn't here. He runs the video. If Mr. Russo's not here again, it's not going to be videotaped. So, I mean, that's what I can say. Unless we're going to if we're going to hire somebody else here to run the videotape, I'm not so sure why this is continuing to come up.
All meetings are recorded by the town clerk too.
They're recorded accordingly to by law,
verbally.
and the minutes are voted on and presented in the following meeting. But the video is strictly courtesy. So that's all I have at this time.
Councilman Diglio.
Okay, on September 15th, I attended the Sussex County Day and volunteered wherever I was needed. The day was a great success. There were so many vendors, the municipalities that were represented, and I don't know if any of you attended, but it was a great day.
It was great.
It was a great day. On September 16th, Kimberly and I attended the Hackettstown Lamplight Dinner, and we took notes on what we could do to improve our event for the Taste of Newton. On September 17th, Matt and I attended the 2019 Help Their Hunger at ShopRite, and we had a great time meeting people and packing their groceries. That night, I attended the meet and greet at Maxwell Molly's, and Bonnie and Rich, who are the owners, were perfect hosts. There was plenty of refreshments, and Bonnie gave a great presentation on how she decided to purchase her building, renovate the building. Actually, right before the 2007-2008 economy recession, how she was able to stay in business, and how she succeeded to the point where she now owns 2 stores. Paulina, who is a groomer, discussed her organic methods, and actually several people that were there made appointments because of what Paulina was able to educate us on as far as how to groom a dog. And I want to thank Bonnie and Rich for giving us a wonderful evening that night. The next meet and greet, by the way, will be right here on November 14th at the Municipal Building, and I invite anyone to come for the meet and greet sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce, Newton Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Schlaffer is absent. Councilman Dixon.
As Councilwoman Diglio said, we attended the September 17th Help Bag Hunger event at ShopRite. Newton was very well represented. Not only myself and Councilwoman Diglio were there, but members of the Newton Fire Department, Detective Deanna Bell, and Chief Richards from the Newton PD also participated. And it was wonderful and an honor to be able to participate in that event. No Board of Ed meeting since our last meeting. They meet tomorrow night at 7 p.m. That's all I have.
Mr. Russo.
Sure. Just a few items. First, to note for the record, the proclamation for Eagle Scout for Brendan Reed. I believe there's an event coming up in November.
Yes.
For the mayor can attend. Mr. De Palma had brought up an issue of the clearing that was going on at Overlook. I'm going to ask Ursula to address that if she has a minute.
Sure. So I'll give you the history on this property. Back in on July 10th of this year, the Green Acres came out, DEP came out and did an inspection of all of the sites. There's 5 sites within the town of Newton, and at that time, there was a question about the property, I guess it's Summit Park, it's known as, with the cell tower. In 2015, there was an agreement whereby essentially 5.5 acres would be utilized for public parkland, and a half acre would be that cell tower provision. So basically, there's a locked gate that prohibits the access. So Adam and the DPW has been working on it. I understand that the gate has been removed at this point. The fence was already completed back in 2015. Trees have been removed, poison ivy. They've graded and reseeded, so they're continuing to maintain it. Maintenance is planned for the future, and they're now working with Harold as far as, I guess, the entranceway, some sort of barrier on the embankment. So the DPW is on top of it and trying to make sure we're in compliance. We've told DP we're working on it, and the Green Acres DPW is just going to continue the maintenance.
Thank you. Tracy had brought up an issue with the football team. I'll let Michelle address that during her presentation, along with the issues we're having with the bathrooms. It's not lack of trying to keep them clean. Unfortunately, there are people taking advantage of the situation, so I'll let Michelle talk about that. CFO, Peggy, now the CFO position wouldn't affect my contract. Only one that would is the chief of police. His contract does weigh in on future discussions for my contract renewal. Peggy also mentioned about pilots. It's just a general conversation about payment in lieu of taxes, not specific to Thor Labs, but it's just a general conversation about pilots. And I appreciate everybody's comments about the SEC TV renewal. I'm glad Ursula mentioned about the fiber optic options through Planet Networks. The municipal building and police department went in that direction as well. So as you've all indicated, it is good to have options. So I authorized the municipal building and the police department to sign a contract for fiber optics for this building. I'm not going to tell the residents what to do, but you're right. Having options in this community is critical for healthcare, education, and just doing business nowadays. Where I live, I have 300 speed. Not having that level of speed adversely affects the businesses and, the schools, education, the hospital, just everything. So the council weighing in on that was important. Robert worked with us on that resolution with Ursula and Harold and I. So, whatever we can do to encourage competition, but that, that might be a separate and distinct issue from how the BPU regulates the franchise renewal, which Ursula will pull together that information for the council in advance of the December 9th hearing. Okay? That's all right now. Thank you.
Okay, any other council manager reports at this point? Okay, so we have a presentation from Michelle Estramera regarding the Recreation Department. Michelle and Rick, if you want to come up.
Yeah, and just take 2 minutes and I'll set it up.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you. Log into the Did you see that email for us? I want to talk to her afterwards. Earlier today.
Yeah. Yes. Let's talk.
All right. Welcome, Michelle and Rick. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to give you some insight on the Recreation Department. As the Recreation Department, we
Michelle, just make sure you speak into the microphone.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay. As the Recreation Department, we coordinate the daily use of various parks in town, as well as the pool, along with the maintenance of the same. Some of these tasks consistently mix between Recreation and DPW, but thankfully, through a great working relationship, things get done seamlessly. Additionally, Recreation creates plans and executes additional non-athletic programming events and trips for the residents of the town, including the Subway Series trip to City Fields, the Bronx Zoo, and the Radio City Christmas Spectacular. The Recreation Department consists of myself as the part-time recreation supervisor, Brock Kithcart, which couldn't be here today, as the full-time pool and parks caretaker, and Catherine Walker. She's a shared part-time administrative assistant. For the summer of 2019, we did hire 2 seasonal employees to assist us with summer activities, Nicholas Lasso and Jacqueline Fredenzi. Nick assisted me with the special events and activities that we had over the summer, and Jackie supervised the shuttle to and from Hackettstown Community Pool on a daily basis. The Recreation Commission is a group of volunteers, which you are aware of, is picked by the council to assist in the execution of various recreation events, such as the Miss Newton contest, the 2 senior luncheons, and the Easter egg hunt. We currently have Karen Crossley as our chairperson, Rachel Bucci, Rufus Coward, Kelly Rossi, and Danielle Zito. There's currently 2 vacancies in the commission, which we're looking to fill sooner rather than later. A big important part to our department are the seniors. The Primetime Seniors is the social group for the residents of the town, ages 55 and up. They meet on the first and third Wednesday of each month. During their meetings, they have various speakers and informative sessions. If you attend, be prepared to be fed, as they will not let you leave without having, at the very least, a slice of cake and a cup of coffee. On Tuesday and Fridays, Peggy Pack from the YMCA leads the seniors in Zumba Gold at Firehouse 1 for only $5 per class. It's a fun way for them to get active with a dance party that moves at their pace, and they really enjoy it. Recreation also coordinates 2 luncheons, one in the spring and one in December for the seniors. This spring luncheon is planned to coincide with the high school musical, which allows for the seniors to attend the matinee in the afternoon. In December, the holiday luncheon allows for the seniors to socialize before the holidays and enjoy some entertainment. This past December, we had Irish step dancers for them to enjoy while they had their lunch. Now moving on to the pool, which is another aspect of recreation. The pool, as everyone knows, was closed for the 2019 season for an investigative study and possible repairs. Through the generosity of Thor Labs and the cooperation of the Newton Board of Education and the Hackettstown Pool, we were able to provide an alternative aquatic facility. Free shuttle to the Hackettstown Pool was offered from July 1st through August 29th, Monday through Thursday, to Sussex County residents. We advertised through flyers at school, Facebook, Instagram, the town website, and news media. Due to no enrollment or inclement weather, the shuttle only ran 8 days out of the possible 36 days that we could have had the shuttle. These are some of the posts and advertisements that we put out for the shuttle throughout the summer, just for you to see. As far as recreation happenings, the events which have taken place thus far in 2019, we had an Easter fun night where children were able to do different crafts, including egg dyeing. Then we had the Easter egg hunt at the high school with over 2,000 eggs distributed throughout the fields. The Miss Newton contest, Little Mr. and Little Miss Newton, which we changed the day this year and location through the generosity of the Newton Theater Arts Academy. We were able to hold it on Spring Street at their facility, which increased the participation and the attendance of the contest itself. We had the Subway Series, the Kids Summer Zumba, Super Scientific Circus, Bronx Zoo, Tiny Book Workshop, Friendlies Fridays, Ice Cream Social, Picasso in the Park, Family Fun and Movie Night, and Medieval Times. We strive to provide activities that were educational, culturally exposing, but most importantly fun, with minimal to no cost to the participants. With the exception of the Subway Series and Medieval Times trips, all of these activities have been free of charge to the participants this year. The families that participated in the various activities were very happy, enjoyed them, and they expressed their want for it to happen again in 2020. So they were very happy with the activities. These are just some of the pictures of the different activities, like the Easter egg hunt, Zumba that was provided to the C2C program at Halstead and at Miriam Avenue Schools, Super Scientific Circus. If you want to go to the next slide, Tom. The Bronx Zoo, Medieval Times, the Family Fun and Movie Night, which was totally free. They had popcorn, cotton candy, face painting, inflatables, Rizzo's Wildlife was there too with some fun animals. So the kids had a great time this summer with the different programming that was provided. Our next big event is Saturday, November 9th at 11 a.m., the Flags of Honor dedication ceremony. We're currently accepting donations to adopt a flag for only $30. Anyone, you don't have to be a Newton resident, can adopt a flag in honor or in memory of a veteran. 100% of the proceeds will be donated to Community of Hope, Inc., Hope for Veterans program, which ensures a safe haven for homeless and disabled veterans every day. I know it has been mentioned at various meetings, and we appreciate your assistance in making this a successful program. As far as improvements are concerned, with the assistance of DPW we strive to maintain all recreation areas, keeping them clean, safe, and accessible to the residents of the town. Although the to-do list is long and the funds are tight, this year we have managed to update some of the deteriorating signs, such as the Memory Park sign at the entrance. We also obtained a new sign for the town pool, which were both made and installed by Mark Maruska from Gravity Designs work. An extensive amount of new playground mulch was put down at Memory Park to fill in the very large divots throughout the playground area, especially by the swings. We also reconfigured the entrance into the play area over at Pine Street Park by removing some of the gates and putting down new playground mulch. The area is now more open and inviting to the children, and easier access for the parents, because there used to be gates right in the front area that's now open. We're currently working on obtaining new signage to place throughout the parks, advising the public that smoking and vaping are all prohibited by state statute. We would also like to complete the installation of new dugouts throughout Memory Park, as well as new fencing in the ball fields. However, some of these tasks may get pushed back to the spring because there are other high priority tasks that have to happen first, and I depend on the manpower from DPW in order to get these projects completed. Looking into 2020, Recreation is looking forward to reopening the pool. We're also hoping to expand on the exercise program for the seniors, as they have asked for things like yoga or Tai Chi. Due to our limited resources and lack of interior space, we would also like to build on our relationships with outside organizations that can assist in providing additional programming to the Newton families, such as the YMCA and the Newton Board of Education. Additionally, we are looking into new and improved systems to provide a seamless and user-friendly registration for the pool and other recreation activities and outings. Lastly, we would like to improve the surveillance throughout the parks to reduce the vandalism of signs and bathrooms and illegal dumping that takes place on a weekly, if not daily basis at the park, which speaks to some of the comments that the public made. The bathrooms are cleaned. However, by the next morning, they're pretty much vandalized. There's wet toilet paper, napkins thrown against the walls or loaded into the toilets, and they don't flush the toilets, clogging sinks, all kinds of things. So we could have it cleaned that afternoon. By the next morning, they're vandalized. Really, we would like to close out that bathroom and just have the porta-johns that we have throughout the park there, instead of having the bathroom facility. And in regards to the gate being closed, we had to close the gate. I'm not too sure how Ms. Paparolla's name came into play there. I closed the gate. I made the decision to close the gate because we were having our fields destroyed by people parking onto the field. They would drive through the access road and park onto the field, park in the handicapped areas where they weren't supposed to be parking there. They don't have handicapped placards. Our no trespassing signs at the pool were being ripped down and destroyed. So we were just limiting access to that area because we were having damage to the fields and some of our property. We now had to lock the other side of the gate as well because they were driving through that area. That's not a road at all. And they damaged one of the
shutoffs.
One of the water main
shutoffs over the weekend. When you're in front of the concession stand there, where the blacktop is, in front of the bull stand, now they're driving through there by the dugout between the building and the emergency generator, and all the valves for the pool and everything all stick up out of the ground. Somebody ran over one of them. We checked today, it's not leaking, so we ended up closing them gates today.
Michelle, did you get through all of your
I
presentations?
did.
Okay, good. So how many days out of the week would you estimate that the bathrooms are being vandalized?
I would say it's cleaned on Mondays. They're contracted to be cleaned on Mondays by Tuesday morning because I go in there every morning to check the bathroom now. It's already destroyed. By Saturday into Sunday, it's disaster. This week wasn't as bad as previous weeks, but it's, you know, you can have someone in there every night to clean that bathroom. The next evening, you're back to the same thing, because they're just going in there and just destroying the bathrooms. I can't say exactly who's going in there and destroying it, but they're having a field day in those bathrooms.
So it's cleaned once a week.
Correct, on Monday.
But it's okay.
And just for the public's edification, what are the hours that it's typically open?
What are the,
It opens at 8 in the morning and closes at 8 at night.
Yeah, because it's automated.
It's automatic.
8 a.m. to 8 p.m. is typically when they're open.
A couple weeks ago, we went on a Saturday morning time. We came in, there was water around the door. The sink was ripped right off the wall.
Is it locked at night? Or
Yeah.
no?
Yeah. You said it's an automatic locking system, right? Yeah, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. it's open.
So it's not that we don't want to provide the restroom facility, but I'm getting very close to shutting it down and demolition the building, because there are people that are not taking good care of our property, and that's not fair to the residents and the visitors that want it. And I agree with the sentiments with Nadine, Harrison. You know, we talk about Spring Street, but yeah, when you're a visitor and you have a game and you have your family here and you walk into the bathrooms and you see urine all over the place or fecal matter all over the place, it's disheartening. But it's disheartening being the town manager of the town where somehow people can't seem to not be animals in the bathrooms at Memory Park. And then you have to have Michelle go in there and see this, or Rick and the guys go in and clean it up. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to the staff. It's not fair to the residents and the visitors.
So, Michelle and Rick, first let me back up to say thank you to all of the great activities that are happening in the Recreation Department, with the Recreation Commission, staff, and all the activities. I know many of us attend lots of those activities throughout the year and see the hard work, both the staff and the commission. And as you noted, done on a part-time basis in terms of hours and allocation. I know firsthand that the seniors really appreciate the relationship that they have with you, and they many of them regularly attend those meetings on the first and third week of the month. They always look forward to the events, but particularly the luncheons, which many of us go to help out and serve and catch up with many of the seniors that are there. As I've mentioned to you before, there was a lot of sentiment around what was going to happen this summer with the pool being closed, and a lot of work put behind providing the shuttle to Hackstown. So to hear that because of the lack of participation, that it only ran 8 out of 36 days is disappointing. But I know that there were a lot of other activities, as you mentioned, 12 in total, 10 of them being free, that were planned and executed by the Recreation Commission staff and volunteers for other activities. I know the attendance varied at all of those activities, but had the opportunity, Councilman Diglio and I talked to many of the families that participated, whether in the movie nights or others, and they were all happy and hopeful that those events, as you stated, would be coming back next year. So thank you for all the work this past summer, and I know you just recently came into this position, but have taken the job seriously, and your commitment has definitely shown through, and it's I'm happy to hear that the continued relationship with DPW is a positive one. I know DPW works very hard, whether it's at the town-sponsored events or chamber events, county events, others. The team works incredibly hard whenever called upon. I, too, also hope that the Flags of Honor event on November 9th is well attended, and that we get lots of flags out on one. With regards to the improvements, those are budgeted improvements, whether the improvements already done or the improvements to come. So thank you for staying on target with those. With regards to the 5 goals that you listed for 2020, opening the pool, expanding the senior exercise programs, building on partnerships in the community, the new point-of-sale system, and probably as equally as important to all those, the improved for surveillance of the parks and the pools, are all great goals for 2020, and I know that Councilwoman council is going to be supportive of those, and obviously we've already publicly stated our support of reopening the pool. It concerns me, having raised kids on those fields as well, the amount of damage that's happening, not even on a quarterly, monthly basis, but it sounds like a weekly or daily basis. Because number one, they're impacting the safety of the fields and of the kids that are playing on the fields and the spectators and the parents and the supporters that are coming out. But it's taking time and resources out of our DPW program, our DPW staff, to make those improvements. It's costing taxpayer dollars in order to fix what's being vandalized. And, you know, improving the surveillance means then that has to be policed, which then is an expenditure of additional resources, and, you know, rightfully so, because Newton, in addition to lots of other amenities, is very much known for the fields and the parks. There was lots of conversation at the last meeting about the pool, and even insofar as people suggesting or advocating for splash pads as part of the park or an expansion of the park facilities at Memory Park. Now, hearing all this is not only disappointing, but makes me weary of adding additional amenities down there if they're just going to continue to be vandalized, right? So I think we definitely have to talk about that surveillance and what are the next steps in terms of the parks and pools, because as you can see, what should have been a great updated report for the council is we asked for the departments to come in and do, highlighting all the great stuff that's going on. You know, we're talking about what the negative actions of a few have been with regards to our systems. So I'm hoping that your presentation answered some of the questions that the public had earlier, but I'm going to ask you to stick around for the second public just to make sure that we have all questions answered with regards to gates being closed and vandalism in the bathrooms, etc. But thank you. I wanted to start with thank you and end with thank you, because I think that what the Recreation Department, the staff of the Recreation Commission, what you guys do for our residents and visitors is an amenity that not all towns do and participate in, but it's something that we take and highly value in the town. So I appreciate your efforts. Deputy Mayor Flynn, any comments for Michelle or Rick?
No, I think it was a very thorough presentation. I think you've grasped the job well since you've taken the reins. It's been a rough time, you know, with the pool. But I think you've handled it well. Your relationship with the DPW is excellent, so it's good to see a collaborative, working agreement between the two entities, and just keep up the good work.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. You too, Rick. Thank you.
I also want to thank you, Michelle, because you did take this on, kind of like taking the bull by the horns, and I think you did an excellent job doing so. And I also want to thank all the DPW, because they're always there for any event that we have that we need, and they're always doing anything that you need them to do. So please extend my thank you to all the members of the DPW.
Councilman Dixon.
Yeah, Michelle, thank you. I think you did an excellent job.
Thank you.
Adding the events and everything. I think they were well received, and hopefully we'll continue along with that. It's disheartening to hear about the vandalism, so hopefully we'll look at that and talk about what we can do upcoming to try to help in that area. And then the DPW, Rick, you guys, I mean, above and beyond, everybody's happy with that, but just everything we ask, outside of just DPW, that you guys do. You're phenomenal. So you and the entire DPW, thank you for all your work. Thank you.
Mr. Russo, any additional comments?
No, I just want to thank Michelle. It wasn't an easy first 9 months here, and for her to come in and do the presentation was difficult, so I appreciate her taking the time out of her family life to come on a Monday night to talk about the work that she's done. Like all of you said, there's a lot of these initiatives that didn't exist a year ago. So when we're able to successfully go out to bid for the pool and manage the project and open next year, we would still our goal to maintain a lot of these events and just expand the recreation offerings for the town. Like the mayor said, there's a lot of towns that don't offer a lot of these amenities, and if we can take the ones that we're good at and add to and expand, I think it just makes it a greater place to live and visit. And Rick knows I have great respect for him and all the individuals that work for the public Works Department. They are the best group that I've worked with, and I've worked in other towns, and man for man, individual to individual, they're head and shoulders above the ones that I've dealt with in Randolph and Burns and other towns. So they will always go out of their way to help not just the staff, but the residents and the visitors and the business owners. So I commend Rick and everybody for all their work.
All right, anything else for us at this time? Like I said, if you guys could just hang out for a little bit, that'd be great. All right, we're going to move on to ordinances. We have a public hearing and a second reading for ordinance 2019-8. This is an ordinance change wage level for the chief financial officer and the town salary ordinance. At this point, I need a motion to open the hearing to the public.
I'll make a motion to open the hearing to the public.
Second that.
I have a motion by Councilman Diglio and a second by Councilman Dixon to open the hearing to the public. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any comments from the public? All right, seeing I need a motion to close the hearing.
I'll make a motion to close that portion of the hearing.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion to close the hearing by Deputy Mayor Flynn and a second Councilman Diglio. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, do I have a motion to act on the ordinance?
I'll make a motion to act on the ordinance 2019-9. I correct myself, 2019-8.
I'll second that motion.
All right, I have a motion to act on ordinance 2019-8 by Councilwoman Diglio and a second by Deputy Mayor Flynn. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mayor LaBrus?
Yes. We have an introduction of ordinance 2019-9 tonight. This is a bond ordinance providing for pool improvements in and by the town of Newton in the county of Sussex, New Jersey, appropriating $400,000 thereof and authorizing the issuance of $380,000 bond or notes of the town of Newton to finance part of the cost thereof. Do I have a motion to introduce?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance 2019-9.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Dixon, a second by Deputy Mayor Flynn. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mayor LaBrus?
Yes. So the next council meeting, there will be a public hearing regarding ordinance 2019-9. We have no old business tonight. We'll move on to the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the town council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Mr. Russo, can you review the consent agenda, please?
Sure. Resolution 199 authorizes the renewal of the Canning Group contract for 2020 for QPA services. We have Resolution 200, which accepts banking proposal from Lakeland Bank for 2-year period. Resolution 201 and 202 relate to Utility Advisory Board recommendations for water and sewer gallonage and fees for 2 different projects. And we have bills and vouchers for payment. Deputy Mayor recuses on one of the checks. And then we have an application from Riley Hickman for the fire department.
Um, 2/3/2019. Okay, any questions on consent agenda? Any further discussion needed on any items listed? And Deputy Mayor Flynn, you...
Yep.
Okay. I need a motion for the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion for the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion to move the consent agenda by Deputy Mayor Flynn and second by Councilwoman Diglio. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mayor LaBrus?
Yes. All right. We have no further discussions or presentations for this evening, so we will reopen the meeting to the public. Anyone wishing to make a statement, please come forward. State your name and address for the record.
For the 12 Pine Street. I'm going to ramble a little bit here, sorry, but number one on the agenda, I was a little disappointed that Key West has withdrawn their temporary on the Spooler restaurant. I was a little disappointed with that. It looked like a nice project that was going to go forward there, but I know he's looking at other things to do there. I know that, but I was a little disappointed with that one. I took a great walk with my grandkids last week to the Pine Street Park. Beautiful park, I like it. They put both kids on the baby swings, they're a year old and 8 months old, and all of a sudden I realized the one kid was sitting this way. One chain's a lot shorter than the other one. He was fighting to keep them straight, but it was quite hilarious watching him. But It was probably should be straightened out. It was fun. He was, swinging like crazy. But then also I was surprised when the pamphlet came out Sunday paper, was it? They said there's 3 parks. What happened to the New Hampshire Street Park? Is that closed now? Because that first turn, a lot of time to clean that. Every week he'd go down and clean that up. There was no mention of it. I was wondering if it was closed or not. I don't know. I don't go there, but I was curious if it was closed or not. Just for a matter of conversation, And then the last thing is with going back to the cable company again. My cable bill now, I have 3 TVs. My phone is on the pack thing. $227 a month and change. Up from $171 last year and a half. But what's it for? It's for equipment upgrades. My stuff got slower. I'm dropping more and more every time you move the upgrades. My nephew just moved to Newton from Boonton and it was in Mawa. He was paying $72 a month for triple play with Optimum TV, and he's surprised what he has to pay now. It's crazy. So we have to look for something different. Thank you.
If the vandalism is occurring between
Can you state your name and address again for the record? Thank you.
Hillside Avenue, Newton. If the vandalism is occurring between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., and kids are in school between the hours of 8 and 3 p.m., it seems like a camera or somebody watching could, and it happens every single day, then it seems like all we'd have to do is have one police officer sit there one day and watch and see who goes in and follow them in. And well, I know what they would have done in my day if they saw somebody doing that. But have the police been involved in this at all?
We'll let you respond back
I mean,
to all
it
the
is
questions
property
afterwards.
crime. I mean, if somebody urinated on the wall in front of my house every day, I would call the police. If somebody dumped garbage on my front lawn, I would call the police. Somebody vandalized my car and I saw them doing it, I would call the police. I wouldn't do anything with them. I would call the police. Have we called the police? They're right next door.
We'll have them respond to all the comments at the end.
I forgot to say.
Jenna Jong, 36 Pine Street. I just want to thank the Recreation Committee. I know everyone hears a lot of negative about everything, so I just want to thank them for all the activities that they plan. I haven't been able to go to many, but my kids do enjoy the Easter egg hunt every year. And I think that smoke-free signs at the parks should be a priority, as all of our children play there and they have sporting events there. I didn't know that parks were smoke-free. I don't smoke, but so people coming from other towns might not know that it's a smoke-free area as well. For the bathrooms, if we maybe do a temporary trial to just have them Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the kids are out of school, we have our sporting events, see how that goes. I personally don't think it's one person vandalizing. I think it's probably multiple people going different times. People, that's just how it goes. So, thank you.
Hi, Nadine Harrison, Linmore Ave. The complaint I had with the bathrooms was the day that I was there. It wasn't that it was vandalized. It was a smell of mold in there that was so severe. It stunk in it. Everybody was talking about it. It was 2 weekends ago. I do see how they do get vandalized a lot. I have the ring on my door. It cost me $10 a month. Cameras aren't that expensive. It's 2019. They're really cheap nowadays. If you put a camera up, I don't think I'll stop all of it because some people don't care. But I think all of our parks need cameras. My daughter has we've walked the dog at 7 o'clock at night, and there's people down at Pine Street Park shooting up. And I'm like, get away from the cars. I know what's happening in those cars. And here she is going, oh, there's cars down there. And I'm like, don't go near them. They're doing a drug deal. If you had cameras down at Memory, Pine Street, it might stop some of it because people aren't going to want to be doing things right in front of a camera. They're not that expensive nowadays where it's going to cost us that much to put up a few cameras. And the bathrooms, I just think they need to do something for, the day, like I said, there is vandalism, but it was mold that day. I haven't been in there in about 2 weeks, but it was really bad. And it could have been right after the bathrooms were ripped off, so maybe it was something that came out of the wall. Because I'm trying to remember if there was a sink or not up. I can't really remember, but I walked in and walked right back out. Thank you.
Lynn Snyder, Ashford Street. On a positive note, I would like to state that I think it's wonderful that the town of Newton is working with the county to expand the sidewalks. I think that encouraging walking is a bonus to everyone. It's good for our health. It lessens traffic issues. It really speaks to the personality of our community. More and more young people are not driving, the statistics are showing, and they are walking. So if we want to pull younger people into this community, we really need to encourage that kind of enhancement to the community. So, wonderful job.
Any other public comments at this time? All right, seeing none, we'll close that portion of the meeting. Move on to final council and manager comments. Mr. Russo.
No, just that we have the professionals here for executive session resolution 204 on the pilots. That's the only item of business that we have remaining.
Correct. Councilman Dixon.
Nothing else for me at this time.
Councilwoman Diglio. Deputy Mayor Flynn.
Nothing for me at this time.
All right, then we'll move into executive session with resolution 204-2019. This is a resolution providing for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act and JSA 10:4-12. Attorney-client privilege advice on pilots, future pilots. So this portion of the meeting will be closed to the public, and we'll take an intermission and break right now at 8:25. Do I have a motion to go into executive?
Yes. I'll make a motion
Second.
to go into executive session.
I have a motion to go into executive session by Councilwoman Diglio and a second by Deputy Mayor Flynn. This is regarding resolution 204-2019. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio? Yes. Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mayor LaFois?
Yes.